So for this webinar, Scaling for Success, Strategic Planning and Goal Setting, it's hosted in partnership with the PepsiCo Foundation's Impacto Hispanic Restaurant Accelerator. First, I'm excited to introduce Jesse Iñiguez, co-founder of Back of the Yards Coffee Co., and he is a dedicated entrepreneur deeply rooted in Chicago's South Side. Born to Mexican immigrants and a lifelong resident of Back of the Yards, Jesse has recognized the potential of a coffee business to make significant social impact. Next, we have Lizeth Morales, Peruvian restaurant chain owner with 11 years of experience. She's a former DACA recipient turned successful entrepreneur, and she is fully adept at scaling and operating multiple high-volume locations. And last but certainly not least, we have Pam Rosario. Pam is a Dominican attorney raised in NYC with over a decade of legal experience. She currently specializes in intellectual property and business law, helping small businesses and entrepreneurs get the legal assistance they need to run successful and legally protected endeavors. When business owners think about setting business goals, what do they need to consider to make those things attainable?
Having a clear understanding of what is your goal and understanding that in your businesses, you're going to have different phases of different goals. So when I first started, my goal for me was, how do I connect with my community? How do I connect with my customers? And then what I do that helps me is I work backwards from that. So I figure out what are the steps, okay, if I want to, get my community and my customers to know me. Thankfully, we live in an era where, it's a lot of this stuff we can do on our own without having to pay. You have Instagram. So it's sort of saying, okay, I have to create a consistent plan to post, to give my customers information on who I am, what I do, what makes my restaurant different than others, what makes it unique, how do I get them to know me? So a lot of times for me, it's just breaking down the goal. So one, you also have to be realistic that the big ones aren't gonna happen overnight. They're gonna take time, right? But that's why breaking the steps down of the goal is important, because then it allows you to think of all these other things that'll help you do that. And then this way, when you finally reach it, right, then you do that same process, is taking it step by step, simplifying it for yourself, and most importantly, understanding that it takes time. And it's all about, once you build that recipe, you apply it to the next one, and that's pretty much how you keep going forward. Resources, and a lot of times for me, growth and scaling, I find your team is always also your best resources. They're there every day, interacting with customers every day. When I even have a new hire till this day, even if I bring in a new dishwasher, I'm always asking them, where did you work? What do they do in that kitchen? Is there anything that they do that we can do? Even from washing dishes, right? Do they have a process? Once you have this goal, trust to share this vision with your team. Whenever I bring on someone new, I always tell them, this is my vision for El Gordo Peruvian eatery, and this is how you can help me, right? You're in the food industry. So a lot of times I understand that what makes it challenging is that, our staff isn't always with us for years. We're sort of also like the transition in between the different phases of life. But I always share with people, even if you're with me 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, you can help me have an impact. And this is what I can help you in return.
I think Lizeth said it best. Follow your North Star. Always remember what that is. For us, just remembering, why is it that you started this in the first place? What is it that you wanted to do? And making sure that you always keep that in mind. For us, our business operates in what we call a triple bottom line, people, planet, and profit, right? And so for us, those three things are always top of mind. And so everything that we do involves that. We started what we call was our seed model. So for many don't know, the coffees are actually not beans or seeds that are found in these coffee cherries that grow in high altitudes. And so our seed is what stands for social impact, economic development, environmental responsibility, and direct relationships. Everything that we do involves one or all four of those pillars. When we're doing these things, one of the things that I'm pushing for and advocating in Chicago is raising the sub-minimum wage. And again, the way to do that is to really look at your financials. Like, we can still be profitable. We don't have to be billionaires, right? I don't think, in order to get there, you gotta like screw people on the way up there, right? And we can still live comfortably. We can still be successful and still take care of our employees. In fact, I think the reason why we've become so popular, and I think the reason why people support us is specifically because of that. Because we know what our mission is, we share our mission, and we're trying to influence other businesses to do the same as we do.
Sharing obviously is very important. I also, like to seek the information. Like, I may not be in your industry, but I am also an entrepreneur. I'm a solo law firm owner. I wasn't always that, right? I didn't have the blueprint. I knew how to be a lawyer, but I didn't know how to start a law firm. So the first thing I did, just seek out other solo law firm owners. I went on LinkedIn. I looked for women of color that had started their own law firms and asked for meetings just to talk to them, right? Some of them said no, and that was okay, right? I'm about collaboration over competition, but not everyone is like that. And I just wanted to ask questions. How did you get to how you were? What are the resources that you use? What is your, what software do you use for this? And you'll find, I think, in my opinion, some people are very willing to hand that information over. They want to see you succeed. And so I really rely on those resources. It can be difficult putting yourself out there. And again, they can say no, but that's the worst that can happen. The best that can happen is you can get another peer in your industry. You can learn about something, or you can share something with someone who, may not have otherwise known about it. So for me, I'm constantly, having these like virtual coffee chats or meeting people in real life now that, it's a little bit, it's better to do so, just so that I can have that network of people that I can talk to for advice or just to vent, about things that are happening, unexpected pivots like we talked about. I just think it's really important to find people that are doing the same thing that you are doing.
I have found that self-accountability is so key in the entrepreneurial journey. I always joke with friends. I say, the best thing about being an entrepreneur is you have the freedom, right, to make your own decisions, to set your own timelines, to set your own goals. But with that, you also don't have a boss that's on top of you saying, hey, did you meet this deadline? Did you reach that goal? So understanding that self-accountability is key. It's important. And usually I think that's why simplifying your goals is essential, right? Because the more simple it is for you, the easier it is for you to stay accountable. For me, that's keeping myself organized is what really helps me. And sometimes, especially in my case, I have the multiple locations. I just launched our sauces brand. So it's sort of saying, okay, in each location and each different business, I'm working on different things. And that's why, again, simplifying your goal and making it very clear to yourself, it's so important, because otherwise, a lot of times when I first started, you're busy all day and you're doing 100 different things, but you don't really feel like you were productive. So it's asking yourself, okay, for this I say to myself, for this location, what am I working on right now? What's important? For this location, what am I working on? What's important? And I think when if you first just started in your entrepreneurial journey, the first thing that I would recommend is just establishing your brand, right? Asking yourself, what do I want my brand to be known for? What do I want customers to know about me? And even if you take just whether it's months or even a year, whatever it may take, but you stay on track with just that one thing. My goal this year is going to be to really start understanding what do I want my brand to represent, from things such as colors, as fonts, as language. When people talk about El Gordo Peruvian Eatery, what words do I want them to use? And people are going to know that how you talk about the brand. So it's simplifying it in that way, understanding that it takes spaces depending on what phase your business is in. But most importantly, is just having patience and grace with yourself. It takes time, and that's okay. In the end, knowing your why, like Jessie says, is always so key, because for me, that's what helps keep me motivated.
I want to thank the PepsiCo Foundation and our local partners for the Impacto Hispanic Accelerator. Thank you to all the entrepreneurs out here today. I hope that you found some more information and you feel ready to watch your business thrive.